Sebab dia mute, dia tak dengar. Okey.
Ya, Wan. Live lah. Alright. Okay. Hi everyone. Apa khabar? Bertemu kembali dalam satu lagi siri pada hari ini. Siri kita hari ini berkenaan dengan Kaveat. So kita ada dua orang wakil dari pihak government yang dua-dua rakan saya. Dan sebelum saya introduce dengan lebih mendalam berkenaan dengan latar belakang guest kita pada hari ini, baik saya start dulu dengan konsep dan mengapa Khoshee community ini disediakan. So untuk pengetahuan semua, terima kasih untuk bersama-sama kita pada hari ini. Tolong share dan like and show, of course, please comment and ask questions during kita punya event pada hari ini. So apa yang penting ialah Khoshee community digubal selepas banyak kali saya menghadapi masalah dengan customer saya, di mana saya dapat tahu yang mereka selalunya datang pada masa yang terakhir dan masa itu sudah pun terlambat untuk kita bantu mereka. Dan banyak kali isu ini melibatkan isu-isu yang boleh diselesaikan jika kita dapat awal-awal lagi masalahnya. Kita dapat tahu masalahnya awal-awal lagi. So daripada begitulah Khoshee community ini disediakan untuk masyarakat awam, sebab dalam 10% daripada 100% rakyat Malaysia, hanya dalam 10 hingga 15% saja yang terlibat dalam lelongan awam. Dan memang idea kami kalau untuk menjadikan 85% hingga 90% rakyat Malaysia terlibat langsung dalam lelongan awam hartanah. So dengan itu mengapa kita berada di sini. Dan Kaveat, topik pada hari ini, Kaveat ini sebenarnya satu isu yang kadang-kadang dilihat sebagai satu isu yang terlalu berat. Pada masa yang sama, ada juga yang melihat isu Kaveat ini sebagai isu yang remeh. So, ada masa bila kita lihat isu itu sebagai remeh, maka di situ sebenarnya masalahnya terlalu besar. Sehingga Kaveat itu boleh menyebabkan banyak kerugian. Di sebelah satu lagi pula, dan satu lagi angle-nya pula, ada masanya kita lihat Kaveat ini sebagai satu isu yang sangat besar, di mana bila lempat Kaveat saja kita lari. Di situ juga, dan kita boleh cakap, kita boleh kata yang ini merupakan satu lagi kerugian yang kita tidak nampak. Maka di sini Khoshee community telah bersama-sama dengan dua orang wakil peguam kita akan menyelidik dan akan explain secara mendalam apakah isu-isu perkara-perkara yang patut kita lihat dan bagaimana Kaveat ini dimasukkan dan mengapa dan sebagainya. So sebab itulah Khoshee community mengambil iktibar pada hari ini untuk share kepada rakyat jelata Malaysia. Okay? Ini adalah our common statement. Oleh kerana kami di pihak Khoshee mengambil masa untuk berkongsi pengalaman dan pengetahuan di dalam industri lelongan awam hartanah. Kami juga mahu anda bersama kami berkongsi pandangan, soalan anda bersama kami. Pandangan dan soalan ada, sila share di ruang komen FB Khoshee Option supaya dapat membantu menjawab kemusykilan tim Khoshee, iaitu orang awam yang merupakan ahli masyarakat. So, konsep kita ialah public awareness. So, kita pada hari ini akan saya akan dibantu oleh dua orang wakil peguam. So, bagi saya buat a simple introduction pada hari ini. Yang sebelah bawah saya tu ialah Sharon Dikko dari Elizabeth Sue and Partners, correct?
Elizabeth Sue and Co.
Elizabeth Sue and Co. Thank you very much, Sharon. Dan di sebelah kiri saya ialah Sarmila. Daripada Sarmila Deviga, sebelah kanan kanan. Sarmila Deviga and Co.
And Co.
And Co.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Co.
So, without further ado, mari kita bagi ruang kepada Sarmila sekarang untuk introduce beliau, bagaimana pengalaman beliau dan serba sedikit mengenai Sarmila. Sarmila, please.
Okey, nama saya Sarmila Vani ya. Saya dalam bidang, saya menjadi peguam selama lebih kurang 20 tahun. Fokus saya adalah pada permulaannya fokus adalah pada banking litigation, debt recovery matters, family matters, and goods sold and delivered, and some corporate related matters. Tetapi sekarang saya sudah I'm practicing on my own under the name of Sarmila Deviga and Co. Our firm is based in Seberang Jaya, Penang. Our focus is on conveyancing matters and also litigation matters involving which is related to properties. So that's the scope of our practice now.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarmila. Thank you very much. Sharon, how about you, Sharon?
Okay, hello everybody. Okay, I am Sharon Jit Kaur. I'm actually a practicing lawyer in Elizabeth Siu & Co., the managing partner there. Prior to obtaining my degree, I have been doing conveyancing. So I worked in a law firm while obtaining my degree on part-time basis. So conveyancing has been my passion. I'm a property investor myself. So I've been doing conveyancing since 1995. I got my degree in 2004 and I continued doing conveyancing. So I currently have a team of 12 just handling conveyancing, corporate conveyancing. We have commercial matters. So I don't focus on banking litigation. I don't do litigation. So conveyancing has been my passion from the very beginning. Okay. Yep.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much. So, Sharon, talking about today's topic, we are very much concerned about caveat, because whenever caveat is mentioned in auction industry, there are two types of view. One will say caveat, all caveat can be removed, don't worry. And there's another thought that being passed around, caveat run away. So before we can go into detail, what is actually caveat all about? What is caveat?
Okay. So the word caveat, like what Jivan you have mentioned in the beginning, some people may take it lightly, some may take it very seriously. So taking it lightly and seriously, it's correct, you can do that, but it depends on the situation you are in, or depends on what is the type of caveat, or what is the extent of caveat which was put in by the caveator. So caveat only exists when you, in most circumstances, is when you want to buy a property, when you want to sell a property, right? So buying a property through auction, caveat is something, it's like an alarm. When when you want to buy property auction, caveat is the first thing it should come to your mind. So caveat is actually a statutory prohibition. It's an injunction provided by our Malaysian National Land Code. All right. So the word caveat, or what is caveat, is in our National Land Code. All right. So caveat is actually a restraint on dealing. Caveat, you see, my Malay is really bad, but I'm going to try. Caveat is sesuatu yang akan elakkan seseorang untuk menguruskan harta tanah mereka. So that means if let's say kalau you nak jual and there's a caveat, tak boleh jual. Bukan tak boleh, boleh, but we will talk about it later. So caveat is actually a prohibition. You cannot sell your property, you cannot buy a property, or you are stopping the transaction of a transfer of your property. Okay, so how caveat happens is someone just go to the land office, they file in a certain form, and your caveat will be registered on the title. Okay, so you are telling the world, you're telling everyone that, okay, there's a caveat by so and so. That means I've got an interest in the title, in the property. Okay, so there are three types of caveat. The very famous one would be a private caveat. So private caveat normally is entered by private individual like you and me, company, shareholders, even a beneficiary. So the reason why they go to the land office and put a caveat is because they want to protect their interests. There must be a reason why they do it. Okay, whether they have caveatable interest or non-caveatable interest, I will leave that to my learned friend Sarmila to answer later. All right. So, so caveat, private individual enters a caveat. It is normally because they have bought a property, they have paid a certain money. There's a passing of money, so they want to protect their interest. They go to the land office and lodge a caveat. A private caveat is valid for 6 years. All right. So it's valid until if you don't renew it, it lapses. Okay, so you got to renew it if you want it to be there on your title. All right. Now, the second caveat would be a registrar's caveat. A registrar's caveat, the reason a person enters caveat is the same. So it can be a private caveat or a registrar caveat or the third caveat, which I'll be explaining later. But the validity of a registrar's caveat is it's valid for as long as it's removed. So until and unless someone removes it, it's still valid. Okay, and normally registrar's caveat is entered by government bodies. Okay, our land office. So they normally enter a caveat maybe because there's a owing to them, or they anticipate a fraud, or maybe there's a fraudulent act on the title. So these are the bodies who enters a registrar's caveat. Okay, now comes to our third caveat. Many have not heard about this caveat, but there is such a caveat called a lien holder's caveat. All right, a lien is actually a charge. You are actually charging your title. All right. Now, the only difference is when I talk about private caveat and registrar's caveat just now, you don't need the title to go and put the caveat. But for lien holder's caveat, you actually need to have sight of the original document. All right. So whoever who wants to launch a lien holder's caveat, you need to take the original title and you need to go to the land office. And the land office will endorse a lien holder's caveat on the original title. So land office must see the original title. So lien holder's caveat is very, it's serious, because to have an original title not belonging to you, it's serious. Okay, so lien holder's caveat is also valid for 6 years until it's removed. Okay, and to remove, you also need the original title back to the land office. So those are the three caveats, Jeevan, under our National Land Code.
Thank you, Sharon, for enlightening on the caveat matter. Thank you very much. So, Shamila, I'd like just to know, okay, what will happen? Okay, that means anybody can walk into land office and just lodge a caveat? Or what will happen, Shamila?
Okay, now we will talk about who can actually enter caveat on a property in Malaysia. Okay, for you to enter a caveat, you have to have caveatable interest on the property. That is provided under our National Land Code. Okay, so who are the people, or in what instances you actually have the right to enter caveat? Okay, the first one is when you have a right or persons claiming right on the property. Either could be individual person or a company which claiming right to the property. Okay, for example, I can give you when you enter a sale and purchase agreement. When you sign the agreement, you pay deposit under the agreement. First one is pending the registration of the transfer of the ownership, you can actually enter a private caveat. That is to protect your interests until the ownership of the property is transferred to your name. Okay, that is the first instance. That means you are claiming a right to the property. There is another instance whereby you have a registrable interest on the property. Persons claiming a registrable interest on the property. Okay, for an example I can give is the bank. A chargee bank. Bank normally will give loan and the property should be charged to the bank. So bank will be the chargee. Pending registration of the charge, bank can actually enter a caveat on the property.
Okay, just to interrupt you, Shamila and Sharon, we have one question from Erina, our viewer today. How can I know what type of caveat that has been put in my land title?
Okay.
I throw this to both of you. Anyone?
Okay. So I'll take this.
Okay.
So Erina, how do you know what type of caveat is? You got to do a land search to find out what kind of caveat which was entered. But so when you do a land search, you will see it's either a caveat persendirian, which is a private caveat, or a registrar's caveat, caveat pendaftar, or caveat pemegang lien. So you got to do a land search to find out what type of caveat which was lodged on the title.
So that means, Sharon, what you're telling is that if, let's say we do a land search. So that means, okay, I just want to know, land search, means anybody can go and do land search, or there must be, you must have a rights to do a land search. What is it you land search? Maybe you can share a little bit. What is land search actually?
Okay, land search is actually carian persendirian. It means you want to search. Why do people do a land search? Many reasons. They want to know who is the owner of the property, or they want to know
Who's the
whether
bank?
there's a caveat or
That's
it's charged to
check.
any bank, any other caveat, any other encumbrances, or someone has put an interest in the title. So they do a search. So they go to the land office. What do they need? So actually, to answer your question, anyone can do a land search. What do you need to do a land search? That is the question. You need to have the details of the title. So if it's either it's Geran Mukim or HSD or HSM or Geran or strata title, Pajakan Mukim, Pajakan Negeri. So these are the numbers appearing. This is your title number. And then you have your PT number, you have your lot number, you have your Mukim, you have got your Bandar, you have got your daerah. So you need to know which land office. So it's either like, for example, if it's Wilayah Persekutuan, or if it's Selangor, it's Pulau Pinang, it's Johor Bahru. So you got to have all those details to go to the land office and do a land search.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent. Excellent. So that means from the land search, we can know whether there's a caveat. If let's say there's a caveat, so how, I think Erina wants to know how we know, okay, there's a caveat. So will there be mentioned registrar caveat or private caveat or lien holders caveat? Will that be mentioned?
Yes. It will state caveat persendirian dimasukkan oleh who, or caveat pendaftar or caveat pemegang lien. So it will state there very clearly.
All right. So what type, of course, we can know.
Yes, we will know. It will state there what type of caveat. It will be stated there. It will not state only caveat ini dimasukkan oleh. It will state what type of caveat. So it's caveat persendirian, which is your private caveat, caveat pendaftar, which is your registrar's caveat, caveat pemegang lien, which is your lien holder's caveat. So it will be clearly stated.
So I think that one we answered. So yes, Erina, you need to do a land search from the land search, because she asked again. So I need to do a check on the land search. Yes, land search.
Yes.
Latest land search, not the 2 years ago land search.
Yeah. Correct.
Only the latest land search you can see.
Yeah. But there's another thing I would like to advise them. They may go and do a land search. Let's say tomorrow they will go to the land office and do a land search. They may not see a caveat there. Let's say I wanted to lodge a caveat on that property. I would have gone to the land office a week ago, and I would have lodged my caveat there in a week ago. But it would take some time for the land office to actually register the caveat on the title. So many situations I'm speaking through experience, because when they do a land search tomorrow, they will not see the caveat there. But they will go and do a land search on Monday, they will see a caveat there. But actually the caveat was lodged by me a week ago. So this is something we cannot avoid. No one can avoid it, because this is such, the process is such. So I always advise them is to do, if you have a suspicious, you are suspicious about the property, then you should do caveat maybe 1 month once. So it depends on the situation.
You mean land search?
a land search. Sorry, to do a land search 1 month once, so that you know whether there's a caveat lodge, or any other encumbrances.
Okay. So just to be more on a precisely on a case by case basis, Sharon. If and I'll throw this to Sarmila. So I want both of you to answer this, of course, from your experience. I think experience speaks louder. So
Yes.
if let's say we have entered with an agreement to buy, then suddenly there's a caveat. And assuming on a normal sub-sale cases, what will be the next course of action? Number one. Number two, if let's say I go into buying a property, because this is what commonly people do, because when buying property in auction, the mindset of people is that, or I'll say, bijak pandai kedai kopi. So they go to coffee shop, they go and talk to their friends, and their friends will say, look, this is what you need to do. So end up, what will happen is that they go and buy a bank draft, they go to auction and they buy, and they bid, they are the winner. In fact, it could be a suspicious thing because they could be the only one bidding for that particular property and not aware of the so-called issues behind the transaction. So I'm asking two different perspectives. One, on a sub-sale basis, while you're doing the transaction sub-sale, if somebody lodged caveat in between, what will be the circumstances of that particular caveat? Number one. And number two, how do we go about? And Sarmila, on your side, I also want to know, and both of you to answer, if let's say they already bid and there's a caveat, so what could be the reason of the caveat and how to go about? Maybe I start with Sharon first.
Okay. So so your question was in a sub-sale transaction, right?
Yeah.
After signing a sale and purchase agreement, someone lodges a caveat. So there is a clause in most circumstances, there is a clause in a sale and purchase agreement to say that upon the execution of this agreement, the vendor will, the landowner, the vendor, the proprietor will have to ensure that when they deliver the property to the purchaser, it has to be free from all liens, caveats, charge, free from encumbrances. So it is the duty of the vendor, the landowner, the proprietor to ensure whatever is there, it's removed. So if someone were to come in and lodge a caveat in between, then it's definitely because there must be a dealing which would have taken place with this person and the owner, right?
So the owner need to take the responsibility to remove the caveat. Okay,
that's right.
I want to take the same similar position. Go back to Sarmila. Sarmila, what will happen if let's say someone lodges a caveat and we go for auction and we become the bidder? So what will happen? Whose responsibility is that for you to remove that caveat?
Okay, for auction properties, the scenario is totally different compared to sub-sale. Whereas in auction properties are sold on as is varies basis. Normally the banks will auction the property with the condition as it is. They will not, normally bank will not remove any caveats. Whoever interested to buy the property or whoever has bid for the property has to actually remove that caveat. The burden is on the bidder. Okay, that's why when you are buying an auction property, it is very important for you to do a land search to know whether the property has caveat or not. If there is a caveat, you have to proceed for the second search, which is the caveat search. The caveat search will actually show who has entered the caveat, what are the reasons for the caveat, and from there you will know. You have to consult a lawyer, and your lawyer will be able to advise whether that caveat is a valid caveat or not, whether the person who entered the caveat has caveatable interest on the property. If that person has caveatable interest on the property, then you will not succeed in removing the caveat. So it's not advisable to buy that kind of properties unless can I just add something? Unless your lawyer advise you that this caveat will not stand, you can remove it by applying to the court. Then you should go for that property.
Okay, on what will be the scenario that we can remove the caveat and everything, I'll come back to you in a short while. So I want to go back to Sharon. Sharon, just now you mentioned the burden is on the vendor. So that means there's a two perspective. If let's say you're buying on the sub sale, yes, vendor takes the responsibility of removing. So when it comes to buying from auction, the responsibility falls back to the bidder. So if let's say vendor were to, we already paid up the deposit. So what happened to the deposit?
Okay, so then again, you go back to like what Sarmila have stated. We will do a caveat search. All right, we'll do a caveat search to find out who entered the caveat, who is the lodger of the caveat. So normally a caveat will always be entered by a lawyer on behalf of the caveator, right? So we would then talk to the lawyer and see what is the extent, why was the caveat entered. So again, as what Sarmila said, whether they have a caveatable interest. So assuming that it's this caveator entered the caveat, he's genuine. He actually paid money to the vendor previously, all right? And he never got back the money from the vendor. So now the vendor has found another buyer, sold, collected deposit. And now this current buyer is a grief party. So what happens? We would actually start negotiating with the vendor. We will, because you see, it depends on. So assuming now I'm acting for the purchaser, and vendor has their own lawyer on record. So we would then negotiate with the vendor solicitor to say that, look, there's a caveat. We got to remove it. Otherwise, the transaction cannot go through. So in most circumstances, based on my experience, the vendor needs money, so he will definitely go through with the sale. So they will come into a negotiation and see how much the vendor has to pay back to the caveator. So money involved. The best part here in a sub-sale is the vendor lawyer controls the vendor's purchase price, right? So the money goes into the vendor solicitor account as stakeholder. So if they have come up to a settlement amount, then the vendor solicitor will give an undertaking to the purchaser solicitor to say that we undertake to pay this amount of money to the caveator, so
that he can remove. So that he can remove the caveat.
So it can remove. So me as the purchaser solicitor, I want to make sure that the vendor signs a withdrawal of caveat form, right? So I want to have the withdrawal of caveat form in my record. So then that's how the negotiation process take place. So they will actually give me the withdrawal of caveat form at a later stage, and for me to go and present the title later. So in a sub-sale transaction, we could still negotiate. So worst case scenario is when a very stubborn vendor who doesn't want to give in, then the matter falls. You cannot go through. So the vendor will have to fund back the deposit.
Sorry. Yes. Correct.
Yeah. So in a worst scenario, the vendor doesn't want to give in, or he doesn't want to part with his money. So we will have to call off the sub-sale transaction, and the vendor would have to refund back the 10% deposit to the purchaser.
Oh, okay. So so that means the 10% deposit is secure, basically, correct?
Correct.
So
yeah.
So before we continue, I just like to again ask for the support of our viewers today. Please share, please comment, and please ask more questions, because it's very difficult to get two experienced lawyers together in our event like this. And since Khoshee's community, Sharon and Sarmila, for your information, Khoshee's community, we are actually striving to become auction information authenticity and bidding knowledge center. So basically, we want to be the center for anyone to know more and want to authenticate any information that they receive in the market. So we are playing this role for a very long time, and now we're actually expanding out to whole Malaysia. So coming back, Sarmila, as I mentioned just now, I need this particular verification for me. What will happen if, let's say, I paid 10% deposit in auction, and I bid, I won, and now there's a caveat, I cannot remove the caveat. So what will happen to my deposit?
If you can't remove your caveat, then if you can't get a bank loan for the property, you can't. You might find it. You cannot transfer the property to your name, so your deposit will actually be forfeited because you won't be able to complete the sale. In auction matters, the completion period is 120 days.
Right.
Okay, if you buy a property through a high court auction, completion period is 120 days. If you don't settle the balance purchase price within that 120 days, then your deposit will be forfeited.
Okay, Sarmila, okay, this is what always confuses some of our viewers and even my clients who come back to me. The confusion is 120 days. What do you mean by 120 days? That means 120 days I must transfer the property to my name, or 120 days what? What is this 120 days and how it is calculated?
120 days from the auction date means you have to settle the balance purchase price within that 120 days.
So what you're trying to say is that no matter whether the property can be transferred to my name within that 120 days, but as long as I can pay full amount, whatever owing to the bank, I mean, whatever the balance purchase price I can pay off, so I'm safe. Correct?
Yeah, if you're willing to take the risk of paying your the balance purchase price, even the caveat is not removed, then you can go on. You can settle the balance purchase price, but the property will not be transferred to your name until and unless the caveat is removed from the title.
Okay, this is excellent. Sharon, Sarmila, I'm asking you this question to both of you. I want your perspective. What will happen if, let's say, I paid and okay, let's say even Sharon, let's say after I paid in full, and when the minute I want to go and transfer, there's a caveat. Or in auction matters, caveat is already there. I already paid in full, because there's a say in the market. People always have this doubt. They always say, what, given there's a caveat. So does that mean that I need to buy cash? So I'm a bit confused. So what do you mean? So you buy cash, caveat automatically removes itself, or you need to remove? So they have this misconception, thinking that whenever there's a caveat, as long as you can pay in full cash amount to the bank, and the caveat you can settle after that. So this myth, can both of you maybe go elaborate a little bit further?
Okay, like what Sarmila mentioned just now, if the client pays cash, the timeline is 120 days. That's the completion period for a bidder to settle the balance purchase price. Okay, so 120 days he has to pay. If he doesn't pay, what happened? Then to get an extension of time, you got to apply for a court order, right, Sarmila?
Yes,
Right,
but
and that, yeah.
But it's not easy because under the National Land Code, they use the word shall be completed within 120 days.
Right, which
So
makes it seem mandatory. So it's not
mandatory.
an option; it's mandatory. So the moment they pay cash, and then the lawyers will then proceed with the transfer to perfect the documents under the bidder's name. Now, if there's a caveat, then we got to make an application to the land office or a high court to remove the caveat, right? So
Yeah.
that will take about 60 to 90 days.
Yes,
So
the process will take around 60 to 90 days.
correct. So 60 to 90 days to remove the caveat. Upon successful removal, then the lawyers take the documents, go to the land office, do a land search, and then register the title under the bidder's name. Now, that is if it's successful. Now, what happens if, Sarmila, maybe I leave this to you, if it's unsuccessful, you cannot withdraw the caveat because the caveator is now disputing, because a notice has been given to the caveator that someone is removing a caveat, and the caveator reverts back and said that he is claiming interest and you cannot get a withdrawal done.
So what happens in this case?
Maybe in that scenario, when you can't remove the caveat, okay, this is after the application to court that the caveat is not removed. Maybe then you can actually negotiate with the caveator on how to remove the caveat. Maybe parties can reach a settlement to say maybe some payment to be done, some compensation amount to be paid. Then you can then let the caveator remove the caveat, and then you can transfer the ownership of the property to your name.
Okay, that means there's actually we can look at it from two different perspectives. Assuming we can come to a settlement, yes, that either you want a property or you want the money back. It could be something related to money. So if let's say the amount is too big, I don't think so. Both of them won't agree. One will agree to reduce, another one won't agree to pay that much. In that circumstances, the property fully paid, property is still not mine. So who's the beneficial owner at the moment? What will happen? Who's the beneficial owner? How to determine the beneficial owner?
The bidder will be the beneficial owner of the property because the property has not been registered on the bidder's name because of this caveat. So the bidder can only, at that time, can only be the beneficial owner of the property.
So,
not the registered owner.
Okay, that's already a caveat. Okay, I cannot register, but I already paid in full. So what? How do I protect my interest now in that particular property?
You can protect your interest by putting a caveat on the property.
So
putting a private caveat.
So put another caveat. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Yeah, this will be interesting then. So assuming at one point I can't take it anymore, and I want either one, I want my money back or whatnot. So what will happen? Let's say I want to take this matter up and I want to go and get a court order and get a court order to order for sale. Can it be done so that I sell off the property, I take back my money? The question now, can I take back the amount of money that I paid?
But you are only a beneficial owner. You're not the registered owner of the property. So how to get an order for sale for the property?
Cannot. Because I've done, because my money is stuck. Cannot be done?
Cannot.
Unless the caveator is interested, the caveator is like says, oh,
you strike a deal with the caveator.
Oh my God, that's the only way to do it?
Maybe there is a solution that based on experience as well.
Yes, please.
The caveator wants the property. So I'm not sure if this is workable, but it has. I've done it before 2 years back. The caveator actually is interested in the property. He wants the property. And he strikes a deal with the bidder to buy the property from the bidder at maybe a bit, but the bidder makes a certain profit as well. So he disposes of the property to the caveator.
Yeah.
So on condition that, but because the bidder cannot transfer the property to the caveator, he's not a registered owner. So you can't do a transfer of title. So what happens is there's an undertaking prepared, or maybe there's a passing of money first, or maybe a conditional sale and purchase agreement prepared for the caveator to remove the caveat and allow the transaction to take place. So there is this is going to be this is very technical, but there is a way of doing it where you have an S&P, a conditional S&P signed between both parties with a lot of conditions there, and it gives some sort of guarantee to the caveator that the caveator will remove the caveat now. So the bidder now will now transfer the title to the bidder's name, and then thereafter transfer the name back to the caveator. So it's another sale and purchase transaction. So,
okay, now wait, it's very interesting. So, but in let's say assuming at one point of time both of them agreed to, so that means okay, now I get it. So what you're trying to say, assuming at one point the bidder and the caveator, after some time both of them cool down and they say, okay, I tell you what, let's sell the property and split. And even at that point of time, to get a
Possible.
buyer, even to get a buyer and buyer to agree to buy will be a question mark as well, because they are just a caveators. Both of them will be a caveator of their particular property, correct?
Yeah, right.
And they are not a beneficiary owner as well. So that means the conditional agreement will come in. That's a very good
Yes.
idea. That's a very good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where lawyers like Sarmila and myself come in to draft that kind of agreement and to make sure that everything is legally tight. So it's not hanky panky, it's legal because you are preparing an agreement, both parties sign. So this is workable. It has happened before. Just that many people doesn't know how to do it. So they tend to give up. They give up. So there is always solution. When you buy an auction property, it's very interesting. You just don't give up. You just exhaust all option and then you give up. But there is so many options available.
Excellent, excellent. So there's one question. I just want to pick up one question from Danish Manoharan. How to break the private caveat? So that means I think how to remove the private caveat. So I think maybe we can just repeat back what you said just now.
Shamila, you want to answer this?
Yeah. There are three ways to remove a private caveat. First is by the person who entered the caveat. They file notice to withdraw the caveat. Second is by the owner of the property. Owner means the person who has the right on the property. They apply to land office by filing certain necessary documents. Ask the registrar to remove the caveat on their capacity as the proprietor of the property. So the registrar, upon receiving the notice from the owner, will actually issue another notice to the caveator, asking the caveator to remove the caveat or get a court order within 2 months. Okay, so the caveator has actually an opportunity go to court, explain to the court that they have the caveatable interest and get the extension of time. Unless they get the extension of time, after the expiry of the 2 months, the caveat will be removed by the registrar. So that is the advantage here is a proprietor can actually apply to remove the caveat through the land office, which is so much the proprietor don't have to spend money by going to court and all that. Okay. The third method to remove a caveat is by way of court order. This can be done by any person. Doesn't have to be the registered proprietor of the property. Any aggrieved person. Aggrieved meaning whoever is suffering loss because of the existence of the caveat on the property. Assuming you buy a auction property with a caveat, so you will fall into this category. You are the person aggrieved because of the existence of the caveat. You cannot do a transfer of ownership of the property to your name. So you have to apply to the court to remove the caveat, and the court will actually see who has entered caveat, on what grounds, whether that person has caveatable interest or not, whether the caveat should remain in the property or not. Then the court will decide whether to allow for the removal of the caveat. So basically, everything goes back to the issue of caveatable interest there, whether the person who lodged the caveat has caveatable interest or not.
So Dinesh, I think we have answered you. So basically what Shamila is trying to say is that you need to understand the caveat's strength. So if let's say you do a land search, you find there's a caveat. So if let's say, Shamila, if let's say there's a caveat in the land search, then what next? What shall I do? I mean, I saw a caveat, so what do I do now?
Okay, if you see a caveat in a land search, first you have to see what type of caveat is that. Let's say it's a private caveat persendirian. Then you do a further search, which is called caveat search. In that caveat search, actually, you can view the application which is used to lodge the caveat. In that application, what are the grounds for the caveat and who has entered the caveat, all that will be stated. With that, with the help of a lawyer, you can actually see whether it's a valid caveat or not.
Okay.
For an example.
Please.
No, I've come across a situation. A client bought a property through auction. Subsequent to that, they found out that there is a caveat on the property. and the caveat search shows the caveat is entered by an individual for a debt owed by the owner of the property to that person. That means the defaulting owner, the owner who did not pay the bank loan, has actually owed some money to an individual person privately. So that person has actually entered a caveat on the property. So upon discovery of these reasons, we filed an application to remove the caveat on the basis that the person who is the lender, who is the private lender, does not have caveatable interest on the property, because that person has no interest on the property. The interest is only on the amount of money given to the defaulting owner. Okay, so actually in that case, the bidder was very lucky. We got the caveat removed, and upon that only we managed to transfer the ownership.
So that means any caveat entered on the basis of he owe me money, that is it, I put a caveat. Does not stand a chance to be a very strong caveat. Can you see that?
Yes. Because for caveat, your right has to be on the property. You're claiming a right on the property, or you're claiming a registrable right on the property. Your right has to be capable to be registered on the title of the property. Then
So that means
only you have caveatable interest.
The owing or any money paid must be based on that particular property and not personally.
Yes.
That is a very good point. So I'd like to take one more question. It's from Suresh. How does a caveat play a role in valuation of the property? So it's it's a little bit sidetracked, but then it is on the caveat and how valuation. Maybe I can answer that one. So usually it plays a role in determining the value, because what will happen is that sometimes people do valuation based on registrable condition. If let's say that will be the clause or the purpose of the transaction of the valuation, then this will be taken into account. Same thing like a land with squatters. That's how people always compare. So from my experience, I'm not a valuer, but then as a business valuer, and with the experience of almost 18 years on the land deals and land valuation. So I think this is how it won't impact so much, but there'll be a difference in the valuation. If let's say a purchaser wanted to come and buy, you can value, but then whether you can get a buyer, that's an issue. So valuation definitely will be reduced due to that. So I think that answer. So we have one question. I think I want to go to both our panels today. So as a purchaser, we do not need to top up additional money to remove the caveat.
That depends on whether the property is an auction property or subsale. Subsale, the vendor, the seller will remove the caveat. But
okay.
for auction property,
no, now it's an auction. Let's say for auction, what will happen?
For auction, because you buy as is various basis, so you have to come up with the money to remove the caveat.
Yeah, that's why he's asking. So we do not need to top up additional money to remove the caveat. So of course, what the Sarmila is trying to say, if let's say if it's a subsale, as what Sharon mentioned, yes, it's a vendor's problem. But let's say you're buying from, because this concept is only for auction, it all depends on you whether how much money you need to top up in order to remove. Theo, I hope we have answered you. You need to spend some money, especially on removing the caveat. It's not easy. Even it's a simple caveat, you still need to pay a little bit of you need to spend a little bit to remove it. Okay, I'm asking this too because I'm not going to say anything bad about any lawyers. I'm just want to be frank with you. I mean, through your experience, any lawyer can remove all the caveat, or do all lawyers knows about caveat? Be frank.
if it's a conveyancing lawyer, then definitely the conveyancing lawyer has very much experience in handling caveat. But even if you are a litigation lawyer, then you know best how to remove the caveat. So most lawyers definitely would know the existence of what the caveat is and how to remove it. But in regards to negotiation to make to get the transaction moving, you negotiate with the caveator, then that I would say you'll take an experienced lawyer to handle it lah.
Sarmila, how about you?
Yes. Actually, for removal of caveat in court, then of course litigation lawyers will do. But before that, prior to that, the role is more on, for me, I will see that the role is for conveyancing lawyers actually to negotiate, because they will know the procedure, how to go about it and all that. So it's we cannot say only this lawyer can do. I think any lawyers should be
Yeah.
able to handle.
Okay. Okay. This is not a comment, so I'm not going to say any name here. But then let me just share with you my experience, because this is very important. Because this is what Khoshee community all about. We are not going to say anything bad about other people, but we want them to be well equipped so that whenever they go and approach any solicitor or anyone which we call as lawyer, they should at least be aware of who they are picking. Because I came across, there are certain cases that lawyers will not do. Example, let's say the case a little bit complicated. I came across, they always give a wrong opinion on, example, like caveat. Or whenever there's a caveat, so that's the reason why we have so many people in the market who claim to be expert in buying property, start telling, this is what I say, bijak pandai kedai kopi, where they go around and start spreading the news saying that, oh, caveat, don't buy. Caveat, you should not get involved in all those things. I came across this lawyer, I go and see, show them all the documents, opinion, caveat cannot be removed. I go and see another lawyer, yes, this one can be removed. So when I asked how it is done, so he explained. Then he started taking other cases and start showing. He said, this is where the clause and this is how you maneuver around the caveat. So when I asked him, how sure you can be removed? He said he has full confidence. Confidence is moving in the sense that he's not saying he can do 100%. He's just telling through his experience, similar case, this one definitely can be removed. So from then on, then only I started to realize the most important thing is that it's like looking for eye doctor for your eye problem. You need to look for that particular specialist, because lawyers, I believe there are many types of lawyers. Some are very good in divorce cases. Some are good in, as you mentioned, litigation, criminal, drugs related, or claims, insurance claims and whatnot. So there are lawyers who are actually only involved in conveyancing. I do believe there's actually difference in knowledge and experience in that. I hope I'm not saying bad about anyone. I'm just telling that we need to pick and choose the right lawyer. I'm very sure certain cases, even certain lawyers, they don't take, because they know that, although it can be done, it's troublesome. They always try to have focus. So that means, can we say that not all lawyers does all the cases, although they are capable of doing, they always pick and choose their cases? Can we say that, Sarmila?
It depends on what is their area of practice.
All right.
Like you said, when you have a eye problem, definitely you have to go and see an eye specialist to resolve your problem. So let's say when you have a litigation matter, a contractual matter, or somebody owe you money, didn't pay you back, then you go to a litigation lawyer who is doing debt recovery. So the lawyer will be able to help you. So if your matter is related to conveyancing, then you go to that particular lawyer. That's how it works. And lawyers,
so that means, so because I've seen lawyers who are only focusing on tax-related cases. So they are so much so expert. So if let's say we are going to take tax-related issues to somebody who are not aware, who is not very much focused on that kind of cases, it will be a problem for the client. So coming back to conveyancing, so I believe all goes back to the experience that we have.
Yeah.
Experienced lawyer in conveyancing. So I think that is very important for us to highlight here. So there's one question from Kale Silver. I would like to take this question. So what happens if the person who launched the caveat or lodged the caveat is missing or passed away? So that means he lodged a caveat, then we put in the so-called notice for him to remove, and he's not replying. So what will happen?
Then you have to go by way of order of court to remove the caveat.
So that means we do an ex parte or inter parte?
First, you have to go by ex parte to remove the caveat. And if the court thinks that
The other party also need to be there?
Yeah, the other party need to be heard, then the court will actually call up the other party, make it inter parte application. So then if that person has actually passed away, his next of kin, his legal representative will be called to answer the claim.
Okay, there's another. Okay, how about you, Sharon? You have anything you want to add on that particular
No,
question?
I think Shamila has answered that. So it's just the timing issue lah, because it's going to take time to get the legal rep. You got to find out who is the legal representative to come in for the order to be given.
Okay, I have another question from Urusan. Can I simply put a caveat to jam up your bill? What's local standard must there be before a caveat can be lodged?
Okay, so this is interesting. I wanted to say this towards the very end because everybody feels that anyone can lodge a caveat. So any time when we have a dispute on property, I've heard clients say, never mind, we lodge a caveat, but actually they do not have a caveatable interest. So you see, land office, right? What has been happening over the past years, that land office accepts any application. So anyone can lodge a caveat if they show a document. So how do you know if that document is a fake document or a genuine document, right? So anyone can lodge a caveat. But as of late, land office has been very, very strict in regards to a person coming forward to lodge a caveat. They actually want to see a stamped copy of an agreement. They want to make sure your alasan is accurate or your alasan is genuine. So I have got many situations where the caveat was rejected because your alasan tidak munasabah. So they rejected your caveat. So as of late, land office is very strict in accepting a person who wants to lodge a caveat, right? So coming back to your question, not everyone can lodge a caveat. So even if you say I have a caveatable interest, what is your extent of your caveatable interest? Now, assuming I have a property, it's under my name, but I'm not paying anything for the property. It was gifted to me by my husband. All right. So what happened? My husband lodges a caveat on the property. Question: does he have a caveatable interest? Correct. So does he have a caveatable interest? But I'm the owner of the property. My name is there. So again, Shamila, can I say that this is again subject to how you're going to apply to the court for removal? That means my husband is going to say, hey, I'm the one paid. I show you my deposit receipt. I show you the bank installment I've been paying. I show you my account details. Money goes out from my account every month. So my wife pays nothing. It's me. So question, does he have a caveatable interest? He does, right, Shamila, to a certain extent?
To a certain extent, yes. But you have to consider also the fact that the property was actually a gift for your wife.
Yeah. Okay.
That's one thing the court will also consider that. And
why you give a gift and you want to go in caveat?
Yeah.
Correct. So it's all as a matter of, okay, what is the extent of your caveatable interest? So that is a very that example I gave you it's so clear. Assuming now you just change it, assuming it's not a gift. I bought the property for you, for my wife. So I told my wife that, okay, I will buy this property for you, but you're supposed to pay the installment, but the wife doesn't pay. So the husband, in order to keep the property, he has been paying the installment every month. So then it's another situation. So he has a caveatable interest.
Yes,
So
yes.
it varies from situation. But someone who has paid 1 ringgit for the property and claiming caveatable interest, I think then that doesn't justify to have a caveatable interest for that 1 ringgit he paid. Right, Shamila?
Yes, yes. The court will see to what extent you have actually contributed towards the property, towards the buying of the property, and who has been servicing the loan and all that. Then
Okay,
they will
if
decide.
let's say I lodge a caveat, I don't have a caveatable interest, and my caveat was accepted, and I put it in. What will happen?
If you do not have caveatable interest, you simply lodged a caveat. Okay. Then when the person who has the right for the property applies to remove your caveat and let's say assume that court also finds it, yes, you do not have caveatable interest, you have to remove the caveat, then you also have to pay damages to the person who is aggrieved by the existence of your caveat.
So that means basically they can be sued, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to pay damages for them.
Sued for the damages.
Compensation
also,
for
they
whatever
can
losses
counterclaim.
they suffered.
They can counterclaim saying that, look, because of you, I could not sell this property and I lost this much of money, and for that loss, I'm coming back to you.
Yes.
So it's not that you can just simply go and lodge a caveat. You need to be careful. Thank you. So I would like to take another question from Peguam Yang again. So he said, why the Along has no caveatable interest on the property? I mean, in the bracket, he said, because the Along may be lending money the precious owner, the previous owner, and the previous owner pledged his property as a collateral. There's already a charge. Okay, this is actually a very interesting question. There's already a charge with the bank. Can he go and charge a second time round to someone, whereby that guy gave money on that property and put a caveat? Can it be done? Can there be a lien caveat? Or you must get some sort of like a consent from the bank? The previous, I mean,
Yeah. If there's a charge by a bank, then the bank holds the first right over the property. The bank always has the first right over your property. Okay. So subsequently, I go and enter. I cannot enter a lien because there is no way the bank is going to release the title to me. Right? Because the title is charged to the bank. So there is no way the bank is going to release the title to me to go and lodge a lien. All right. So I go and lodge a private caveat. Because the owner actually took money from me and told me that, Naman, I'm charging this property to you. So general rule is the bank holds the first charge. Can there be, is the second charge valid? Now, there is a clause in the loan agreement. Every time when you take a bank loan, many people do not go through the clauses, but there is a clause. There is a clause to say that whatever you do now, from here in after, I'm giving you money, I'm taking your property. Whatever you do thereafter, you have to give notice to me. You have to we are the first party you got to consult if you want to do anything.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt you. So what you mean is that, okay, so bank is telling, okay, I'm giving you the money, the property is charged. So anything that you want to do on that particular property, you must let me know.
Yes.
If let's say they don't let us know, what will happen?
So they don't let them know, but if the bank comes to know, because if you there are certain banks off and on, they actually ask the lawyer, the bank's lawyer, to actually do a land search and update them on the status of the title. This is as of very recently, this has been happening. Randomly, they just ask you to do a land search. So assuming if the bank knows that there is another charge there, then the bank can actually apply for removal of that the charge. They apply because they have all the right to do so. But if they do not know, the bank doesn't know, they do not know that there's a second charge there, then the charge will forever remain there until maybe the owner wants to refinance or he wants to sell the property. Then the parties they come to know that there's a second charge there. Then what happens? So then there's another procedure there. You got to, that charge will be definitely removed. You got to remove that charge.
Okay. So that means, so meaning to say, if let's say any property which is, okay, in what circumstances, Sarmila, Sharon, I throw this question to both of you. At what circumstances that Kaveat lodged on the auction property cannot be removed?
Okay.
What could be the reason? Ramai, what could be the reason? Sarmila?
When the person who has entered the caveat has caveatable interest on the property, he has the right on the property. So in that circumstances, the caveat cannot be removed unless, as we discussed earlier, Sharon has explained, the parties actually go for negotiation or settlement.
Okay, assuming, okay, let's assume this way. I put a what do you call a scenario here. Let's say the property is worth 100,000. Okay, and the property is being, the borrower owed to the bank 120,000. Okay, then what happened is that 100,000. No. It's like this. Let's say the property worth 100,000 is being auctioned, and the borrower, in fact, already signed an SNP to sell the property prior to the auction and collected 10,000. Is there a valid reason for me to put a caveat, for that particular guy to put a caveat?
Which guy? The person who has paid the deposit of 10,000.
Yes, yeah. And he's not
Okay.
aware. See, assuming he was not aware, he don't know, and he just paid 10% and signed, because that will be always the reason they always tell. They say, "Oh, I was not aware of this auction. I just paid 10%. I paid 10,000." So what happened now? So does he has a caveatable interest?
As a purchaser under the sale and purchase agreement, he has caveatable interest. He has the right on the property.
Okay.
Because he has paid deposit and has signed the SNP. Because at that point of time, it was a purely sub-sale, like what Sharon has explained. It's a purely a sub-sale. So the person wouldn't have known about the foreclosure procedure and all that. Maybe the property was still, in going through the foreclosure procedure, but the purchaser did not know about it, because the land search doesn't show anything. The land search will not show whether there's a foreclosure procedure and all that. So that person will have caveatable interest on the property. Okay. Subsequently, if the property is bought by another person in the auction, then that person will have to actually deal with this caveat. Will actually have to negotiate with this buyer under the sale and purchase agreement.
Oh my God! So that means any caveat entered using a sales and purchase agreement as the evidence to enter the caveat, we need to really watch out. Is that what you're trying to say, Sarmila?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that person clearly will have caveatable interest on the property.
So that means it will be a very tedious job when it comes to buying property. It's not easy.
But it's not. But Jeevan, what we can do right now, what we have our practice as of late is, because of all this situation that has been happening, everybody is so creative. What we do is, when we get a sub-sale transaction, we actually do a SITOS search on the vendor. You see, from a SITOS search, you could actually know that there is a summon originating summon for auction property. I mean, you could find out something from what's happening. So we always insist that no matter what is the value of the property, we must do a SITOS search on the owner.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's take one more question from that. The Theo is asking. So as a bidder, if there is a caveat on the property for auction, maybe it is better not to proceed to bid the auction property. or else, if the caveator is standing firm, not wanting to release the caveat, the bidder is actually paying money, but may eventually cannot get the property transferred to his name. Caveator can sometimes be the loan shark who lent money for the previous property owner. So are we telling that caveat means we cannot buy, caveat means we cannot pay, or what is actually? I mean, today's webinar is basically to dissect what is caveat all about and understand better how to maneuver around properties with caveat. So what is the advice that we want to give to our viewers today? I mean, caveat run away, caveat buy. What will be your take, Shamila?
Okay.
I will advise.
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Sorry, Shamila, you first.
Okay. I will normally, if there is a caveat reflected on the title of a property, then I will normally advise my client to go for the caveat search and find out who has lodged the caveat, on what grounds the caveat is lodged. Let's say the caveat is lodged by a person who has caveatable interest, who has the right on the property and all that. Then I will advise my client, it's not it's the best that they go look for other properties, because there are so many properties in the market. Unless you want to go through the tedious process of negotiating with them and all that, of course that can be done as explained by Sharon, but why want to take the risk? I will definitely ask them to go and look for other properties. Yeah, if there is no caveatable interest, then you can buy the property and remove the caveat, or maybe removing the caveat could be by way of court or by negotiating with the party who has actually entered the caveator. Maybe you can strike a deal, pay some money and all that, then you can get it done.
So, Shamila, what you're trying to say is that we can assess whether the property can be entered to some sort of like a planning to purchase. We can assess from two different timelines. Number one, immediately after you do the net search, you take out the document, you check the caveat document. From looking at the caveat document, we can determine whether it is removable or not. Number one. Then, let's say it is removable, looking at it, not strong, no caveatable interest, yes, carry on, you can buy. That will be your advice, correct?
Yes.
The second part, when you feel that there's a caveatable interest, some sort of like can be established, even then, you can still bid, provided you have all the ammunition for you to go and fight in the court to remove that particular caveat. So, we can assess caveat document from two different timelines. Immediately, we can assess, or we can also assess later part after going to the court and find it out. So, can we say like that, Sarmila?
Yes, you can actually do that, because there is always a way to resolve matters. The person who has entered caveat, actually, he would have entered because he has some claims against the property, or against the owner of the property. End of the day, it's all money. Money will be involved.
Matters.
So money matters. So definitely, I think you can actually resolve the matters, provided you take the necessary steps and you have the patience and you are willing to spend some money, and you have the cash to spend, then can go ahead.
All right. So maybe Sharon, do you want to add something, Sharon?
Yeah. Like what Shamila says, I totally agree with her. But I have another advice for the listeners. So if you really want to buy a property, you go all out for it. Okay, you make a commercial decision whether it's worth your time to for spending the money. So assuming if you're buying a below market value property and you are actually paying lesser than what you should, then you want to go all out for the property. It's a very good investment. Okay, so you go all out for it. So like I mentioned just now, you got to exhaust all your options first before you actually give up. All right. So what are your options? Are like what Shamila explained. You do a caveat search and you find out whether it's a valid claim or can you really succeed. But there are clients, there are some of my clients where they really want the property. They says, no, do or die, I want the property. So we want you to do it, make it happen. So then that's where we explain the risk, we minimize the risk, we explain the cost factor, and we let them decide whether it's worth the money for them to spend. And most often than not, it will be worth the money, because they don't, time is never a problem for them. They just want to get the property. So it all depends on how badly you want the property. You know? Yeah.
Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Sarmila. So before we end, because we're already at the end of our webinar today, I would like to highlight on the key takeaways for today. One, maybe you can highlight the key takeaways. One, wait, hang on. Okay. So number one that we need to highlight, maybe Sarmila can say, what would be the first part that we need to do?
When you're
Do a
buying,
land search.
do a land search, yes. If
Yeah.
you are buying a property by way of auction, you will have the proclamation of sale. You take that proclamation of sale, go to the land office, do a land search. Or if you're buying through sub-sale, then definitely you will have a photocopy of the title, take that, go and do a land search.
Okay.
That land search will determine whether the property is free from encumbrances or not.
Okay. If let's say they are not very familiar with all these land search and procedures and everything. So can they go and see any lawyer? Can they come and see Sarmila, Sharon, to assist on this?
Yes,
Yes,
of
yes.
course.
Can.
Good. So, in fact, what we are also doing in Khoshee community, basically Sharon and Sarmila, is that we are also creating a one-stop center whereby we assist client on doing the duty, plus also have them to check not just on the background of the property and also on the estimate price that they can pay. So we also do such a thing. On top of that, we also assist them on proxy bid. So that means rather than, because there will be many people that you need to hold their hand and guide them step by step. Some they can fly. Some you need to hold their hand and walk through the process. So we are here at Khoshee community. We give this kind of services. We help our client because our idea is to make sure that 85%, 90% Malaysians who are very much interested to buy auction property but scared to buy because they don't have that much of knowledge or experience, or they don't have someone who can guide them. So Khoshee community is here to assist in that. So they can meet Sharon. You can definitely meet Sharon or Sarmila, or you can definitely contact us. We can be the first one to assist you into that matter, not just on the Kaveat or any other matter, and also on doing a duty in that matter. So the key takeaways: number one is do a land search. Number two, Sharon, maybe you can share.
After doing a land search, you actually the first one is to get your lawyer on track, and then number two, get the lawyer to do a land search.
Land search, yeah.
So I changed the numbers. So number one is get your lawyer on put your lawyer on standby and call your lawyer and tell your lawyer that there's a property going to be auctioned. I want you to do a land search, and then the lawyer does a land search, and then the lawyer advises you, okay, there's a caveat, and then you tell him. So the moment they hear there's a caveat, they're going to run away. So you tell them, no, hang on. Do you want to do a caveat search? But timing to get a caveat search is also about 1 to 2 weeks lately. So that's going to take some time. So then they got to decide whether there is time or not. When is the auction date? So all that comes into place. Number two is the
Number
moment.
two is basically the rights or the capacity, whether you can the title can be registered.
Correct. Yes. What are the chances of the title being registered? Yes.
Okay. So the number 3 will be the key takeaway is that I did not read. Did you read? Did anyone read that one? What is that? Number 3. Paying cash. Paying cash, buying cash is not a solution. Okay, buying cash is not a solution. So that means not necessarily if there's a caveat property and you go for auction, you just need to buy cash and the caveat can be removed on its own. No such thing. It is not just that buying cash is the solution, because you are just buying so that you can fulfill the first requirement, which is 120 days. But end of the day, the most important part is whether the caveat can be removed. If the caveat cannot be removed, no point to pay cash because the property cannot be registered under your name. And of course, actually, as Sharon mentioned, get the professional advice should be the number 1. So the professional advice, you can go to Sharon, you can go to Sarmila, you can definitely contact our team, Khoshee community team, for you to understand further and also to be assisted on maneuvering around auction related properties and bidding. So before we take a break and we meet again next week, I would like to ask Sarmila, maybe you can departing words, maybe something, Sarmila.
Okay. Basically, if my advice to the listeners, if you are buying a property, please go and see a lawyer first, because many are making mistakes. Like they want to bid for auction property, they will just go and pay the deposit and bid and become the successful bidder. After that, only they'll go and look for lawyers. That is a big mistake. You should go and see a lawyer, do a due diligence, do a land search. Check thoroughly before actually going for the bid for the property. Okay, that's my advice.
Yeah, Sharon, how about you, Sharon?
Yeah, my advice is the same. A duty to purchase a property is always a must. I can never fail to emphasize a due diligence is a must. Due diligence on the property, on the owner. Perhaps one day we'll have another topic on duty alone. Our next event. All right.
So actually, in fact, talking about the next event, Sharon, the next event, don't forget, next week is on vacant possession. It's a very interesting topic for auction related properties, because vacant possession also sometimes taken lightly. Some really take it seriously, as what I said about auction caveat. Caveat, I don't want to buy. Sometimes people saying I don't want to buy. So vacant possession we will be highlighting, and as I send you an email just now, both of you are invited, because with your experience, I think you need to be part of my team on explaining into detail on the legal perspective of vacant possession and how it is done, and what to really be monitored during the vacant possession process. So Sharon, you want to say anything, Sharon, please?
So yeah, like those who maybe for some people it's easier said than done for them to contact a lawyer. So assuming that they don't want to get in touch with us, but they are afraid to go and see a lawyer. Why? Because they are worried that lawyer is going to charge them how much. So they are worried. So it's cost issue. So what I suggest is, if you can go to the if you can just Google, Malaysian Bar has got a lot of articles on Kaveat, has a lot of articles on so many things you got to look out. There is also an article on when you buy a property, what you need to look out for. So you educate yourself, you educate yourself, you go Google, you check, and of course, with that alone, it doesn't suffice. Definitely, you need to get a lawyer, but always educate yourself on the net first, because there's a lot of information, a lot of articles by our fellow lawyers who actually guide or some property club. They have actually give you guidelines on, when you want to buy a property, what you must do. So it's all there. So do not jump into and pay earnest deposit, or if you're talking about auction, you don't jump into and pay or deposit even before knowing anything about the property. Sometimes you're just doing it for fun because it's cheap, better go, let's grab, but you do not know what you're falling into.
Just to add on, Sharon, so what happens is that usually the clients make mistake when they start following unscrupulous agents, which is in the market,
Yes.
telling them everything is okay, no problem,
Right.
no problem,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
they are not aware that this kind of people, they don't have the mindset of assisting. The first idea is to make money.
Money.
So what they want is to get you registered with them and take bank draft, buy, and end up the only thing they tell you after you meet them when you're into trouble, the only thing they can come and tell you is that, boss, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The only sorry which is comes very late after you have
Yeah.
exhausted whatever money that you have in buying that particular property. So basically, this whole event today, we believe it has given a lot of insights on what is Kaveat all about, what is auction property, how transaction is done, how to pick a lawyer. Sorry, how to pick a lawyer. Yes, not everyone is capable of doing it, so you need to really choose the right people. So we have people requesting Sarmila and Sharon's contact. So maybe later you just give us your name card. I will just forward to Tio and also Kalai. So the concept of auction for, especially when it comes to Kaveat related issues, has been wrongly interpreted by the people in the market, because they always feel certain caveats removable caveats, they start telling every caveat can be removed. And there are a group of people who felt that caveats cannot be removed. So today, thank you very much to Sharon from Elizabeth Siu and Co. For your participation today. And thank you very much, Sarmila, for your ever support. So I know Sharon, for your information, I know Sharon, I think for donkey years, I think more than 30 years, more than 30 years.
When we were all running in the Taman playing.
Yeah, yes. And I know Sharon and Sharon's family, the whole family, I'm very close with them. And Sarmila, I know her like 15 years. And Sarmila is actually one of our panel lawyer. And also Sharon is our panel lawyer in Khoshee's community. So that's how we work together, and we want to make sure that our team in the same mind, and which is to make sure that the public is well aware of the whole scenario and what to choose and what to be aware of when it comes to buying property in public auction. So with that, thank you very much, Sharon. Thank you very much, Sarmila. Okay, yeah, we have done a very good job, and let's see next week. It's on vacant possession, and I've not set a time because I'm quite concerned about next week's opening of CMCO. So I'll let you know the time, maybe earlier or maybe later in the evening. All right. So thank you very much. So
Thank you.
bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.